For over 2 decades, a mysterious creature that lurked beneath the depths of Lake Albert in Uganda was often described as legendary and monstrous. Just hearing his name would send shudders down the spines of locals in the villages surrounding the lake, and with good reason, as the massive Nile crocodile was responsible for having killed 83 people during a 14-year reign of terror. This is the story of Osama, Uganda's most feared Nile crocodile. In the small village of Luganga, stories spread like wildfire about a menacing crocodile known as Osama, a 75-year-old beast said to have caused unfathomable destruction in the 14 years since he was first discovered. Most locals believe that Osama first emerged from Lake Victoria and would gain notoriety as the one responsible for snatching children from river shores and causing boats to capsize with his sheer strength and power. In fact, locals were so terrified of Osama that a good portion of them would refer to him as a sort of myth or legend, whereas the others literally thought of him as an incarnate of the devil himself. The children of Luganga would tell tales of horror when recounting their run-ins with the beast, terrorizing everyone in their communities with gruesome stories of having witnessed horrifying tragedies, such as watching a fellow villager be taken from the water's edge while fetching water, never to be seen again. After hearing stories like these, many of the locals would avoid going near the lake in fear for their own life, despite the fact that it was one of their main sources for survival. The locals rely heavily on the water from Lake Albert for both sustenance and livelihood. The lake provides them with an abundance of fish, which they can harvest for food, and is a main source of income for many of them, as they would sell this fish to other nearby villages, as well as towns. And of course, the lake is also their primary source for drinking water, making approaching the lake essential despite their fears. The villagers estimate that approximately 1/10 of their population has been snatched by Osama, leaving them with no choice but to hope that they can outrun him if they ever were unfortunate enough to encounter him. And of course, given their speed, this is much easier said than done. Brothers Paul and Peter Kewaluyanga are out fishing on what was a beautiful day at the lake. Little do they know, however, that a large Nile crocodile lurks just a few meters away. And worst of all, it's stalking them. The estimated 16.4-foot Nile croc suddenly explodes out of the water and grabs a stunned Peter by the leg, which is when a massive struggle ensues. The brothers attempt to fend Osama off in a desperate bid to get him to unlatch his notoriously powerful jaws, ones that are capable of delivering bite forces of over 2,000 pounds per square inch, which ranks amongst the most powerful in the animal kingdom. A lesser-known fact about these magnificent animals is that they're not always solitary predators. They're actually much more socially intelligent than most people know. In some cases, these prehistoric reptiles are known to form packs or gangs in order to take down larger prey such as buffalo or even elephants. This unique behavior has been observed in crocodiles living in Ramri Island, Myanmar, where crocodiles are known to come out of the swamps in order to hunt down wild buffalo. Although they're rarely known for such teamwork and are quite capable of taking out large prey on their own, this still serves as a reminder that these crocodiles are not just highly adaptable, but they clearly possess a level of intellect that isn't given enough credit, which has allowed these animals to thrive in a variety of environments. Paul then recalls hearing what he described as violent tearing, which caused Peter to cry out in agony, shouting out to his brother at the top of his lungs that the bite force of the crocodile has shattered his leg. And within just a few moments, there was nothing but silence. And what was once a highly active patch of water calms into smaller and smaller ripples, which is when a horrifying realization of the fact that he'd likely never see his brother again would cause Paul's heart to sink to his stomach. A team of local divers would find shredded clothing floating in the lake, which later would be confirmed by Paul to have been his brother's. And although he'd never in his life wish he'd be more wrong about something, Paul's suspicions would tragically be confirmed, which led him to conclude that Osama had in all likelihood fully consumed his brother's body. locals and wildlife officials devised a daring plan to lure him from the lake's depths by using cow lungs as bait. Alex Mutamba from the organization would have the following to say about his capture. All Nile crocodiles, like Osama, will eat a human being if they perceive their territory is being encroached on. But our crocodiles are well secured, so I'm not too worried. In an incredible display of courage and ingenuity, locals and wildlife officials were able to finally devise a plan to capture the notorious man-eating crocodile. A team of about 50 people, led by Uganda Wildlife Authority, would use a copper snare to trap the animal's teeth and would eventually be successful in subduing Osama. The Science Times would report at the time that Osama is now part of a successful breeding program run by Uganda crocs. Although humans may not be their natural prey, there are a few circumstances that may lead them to turn to us as a food source. One of the primary reasons is due to human interference with their habitats as well as overfishing in their area. This not only reduces the amount of smaller prey that they can find, but it can also lead to encounters where they can display their notoriously aggressive nature, which in comparison to other members of their species, is much more prevalent in their behavior, meaning they will strike out at anything or anyone that they view as competition or a threat. And while it is well known that Nile crocodiles in many parts of Africa are feared as man-eaters, these reptiles can actually be quite shy on the contrary, and will try to avoid humans in most circumstances. They also have an excellent memory and are known to remember a human for several years after an encounter, even if no direct contact was made, which is another compliment, of course, to their underrated intellect. If you ever find yourself in Nile crocodile territory, it's important to remain vigilant in their presence and never do anything to provoke them. The best approach is to respect them from a distance and understand that the risks associated with interacting with them are very real. Nile crocodile attacks on humans are often the result of human-wildlife conflict, and this particularly happens when habitats overlap and close proximity between the two species is present. This can also occur in situations where people are near a body of water, performing tasks such as washing clothes, bathing, or fetching drinking water from the river. If this video piqued your interest, then our last video about a man-eating tiger is sure to do the same. You can find it on the end screen of this video.